What's going on, everyone? So, the Scream 5 soundtrack supposedly leaked, quote unquote. Again, take this with a grain of salt. There's no way to really prove or disprove it either way. All we know is that somebody posted it online and then immediately deleted it. But luckily for us, the internet lives forever. So, we have a copy that I'm going to share with you. We'll discuss it, have our usual breakdown. So join the discussion down in the comments below. I'll give my honest opinion and see if this means anything about Scream 5 going forward. For those that don't want anything to do with spoilers or leaks or anything, I completely understand. If you want to click away from this video, now's your chance. I would appreciate you hitting the like button. Helps out the channel a lot and helps get this out to people that do want spoilers or leaks, etc. Before we jump into it, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Join this wonderful community, all of our discussions, and stay up to date with all things Scream. And with that being said, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get into this spoiler or leak, whatever you want to call it. So, Scream 5 soundtrack. I'm going to read what we got here and then we'll talk about it. So, somebody posted the supposed Scream 5 2022 soundtrack on here, earlier, before mysteriously deleting the post. I saw a few of them and they imply or confirm certain things about the movie, some of which are pretty big spoilers. The track names don't sound fake either, which is why I kind of believe it. So it said the second track was named Saved by Fate right before the opening title. This pretty much confirms what's been highly speculated about somebody surviving the opening kill attempt. Apparently, Trouble in Woodsboro will return too, which I'm really excited about. It says they'll be the fourth track. The fifth track is titled Survivors Reunited, implying that Sydney will appear pretty early on if it plays over Sid and Dewey's reunion. It could be Gail, but you'll see why that's unlikely later. There's also a new soundtrack called Sam's Lament, which will remind many of you of the song used in the original Sydney's Lament. This implies Sam will be taking on the final girl role. There's a track at number 8 named Ghosts, which could confirm the rumors of Billy Loomis appearing in some kind of flashback sequence, maybe in Sam's dream, like that supposed leak had mentioned. So, there's a lot to break down. Right off the bat, starters, every soundtrack, like if you look them up from Scream 1 to 4, none of them really have a title that would essentially give away scenes of the film. That doesn't mean that this film won't, but all of the sort of titles of the soundtrack of the previous Screams have all been sort of, weird generic names, but none that give specific points. I mean, this is pretty like Saved by Fate shows like in the opening title. Again, it is a sort of generic title for a film or for a song, so it's very likely that it could be. But this also kind of ties into the spoilers that we covered before, with Tara being the opening scene and how she could or could not survive. It was kind of left on a cliffhanger. The full details weren't presented. We only had a small little snippet of that opening scene. But this rumor and speculation going around since that is that Tara will survive. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it down in the description so you can go check out the opening scene. Because if you're watching this spoiler video, you probably don't mind about spoilers, so go check that video out. But let's sort of break this down a little further. Now, I do like how they said supposed. That makes a lot of sense because, again, this is supposed. It was deleted and post pretty quickly, but Saved by Fate makes sense. It kind of lines up with the spoiler of the opening scene, as I said. Then we have Trouble in Woodsboro. You kind of expect it. It's a Return to Woodsboro film. The film is supposed to be in Woodsboro. You would kind of assume that would be the case. So that makes a ton of sense that we would get that score back. Survivors Reunite. Now, it says implying that Sydney will appear pretty early on if it plays over Sid and Dewey's reunion. It could be Gail, but you'll see why that's unlikely later. Though none of the other topics here sort of explain why Gail wouldn't be a part of that reunion later. We do know that she had some other scenes outside of like the opening all that stuff. But we don't know where that takes place as far as like the film's continuity. That could be essentially anywhere. So if that's the case, this is kind of hinting towards Gale dying, which is kind of not what people expect. Many people believe that she will be later on in this film, though Dewey has kind of been the one that has been speculated to die. The thing that I find strange, though, is that we know Gale had quite a bit of filming time. Like, she was on set filming for quite a bit. Granted, who knows how much footage they'll use, if there are flashbacks, if any of those were flashbacks. Especially if they have ties to like Scream 4. You don't even have to do really any age advancing or anything like that. You could just have her plug in, maybe some behind the scenes stuff. Maybe she was like a reporter again, so maybe we'll get some sort of stuff that has nothing to do with her character being alive, if that makes sense. But again, there's nothing really here that says like Gale's going to die, but they're kind of hinting at it because it says like, if but it could be Gale, but you'll see why that's unlikely later. To me, I take that as like Gale's going to be dead or something, or maybe she left somewhere else. I mean, it could be maybe Dewey and Gale got a divorce and Gale is on her own, and Sydney and Dewey kind of come together in a reunion type of way. Survivor reunite sort of makes sense. And then you have Sam's Lament. I don't know why I keep saying it that way. I'm sorry, but which implies that she's the new final girl. Now, the whole sort of speculation is that Tara will be the final girl in this film, but it's very likely because the sort of synopsis is that one gets attacked, somebody returns to Woodsboro to investigate a string of attacks. So there's tons of speculation that Tara, because she's the opening scene, is going to survive it, but she's going to spend a majority in the hospital, which could make Sam the sort of main girl and sort of center this film around her. So I don't think that's unrealistic. And then there's the 8th track, Ghost, which appears to confirm the rumors of Billy Loomis appearing in some kind of flashback sequence, maybe in Sam's dreams, like the supposed leaks had mentioned. I have not heard anything about Sam's dreams, and I've read a lot of spoilers or supposed spoilers, and I mean, I've only covered the ones that I could kind of, one, made sense, and two, I could kind of confirm. I mean, the opening scene spoiler was by a sort of prominent figure in leaking stuff. So that's really the only spoiler that I've covered that you can kind of point to evidence that it could be true. Most of them are just kind of smoke screens, or they're just, somebody creating an account just for the sake of posting some random nonsense, really. So I don't know where that Sam's dream sequence is from. I don't even know why she would have a dream sequence about Billy Loomis and them. I mean, she wouldn't, I don't even, depending on how old she is, she might have not even been alive when that happened. So, I mean, it's one of those things like, how would she have dreams of Billy Loomis? Why would that be so impressionable? To me, that sounds silly. And then Billy Loomis appearing in a kind of flashback sequence. They're supposed to have flashback sequences, so it would make sense we'd see Billy Loomis, especially Stu. Now, I did do a video, if you haven't seen it, on what they could do with Stu's house. Now, this ghost could be tied into that. The Stu's house. We know it's going to be incorporated in this film to some capacity. This would make sense, having ghosts, because that's where it all happened. That's where Ghostface was revealed. That's where the big epic showdown happened. So I could actually see the number 8 track, Ghost, if that's actually a thing, that it could, be a part of that sort of Stu's house reunion, I guess, however you want to call it. But again, if you haven't seen that Stu video, I definitely recommend checking it out because it's a pretty interesting idea. I'll link that down in the description as well for you. But outside of that, I mean, it's just your typical tracks. Some of them line up, some of them make sense, some of them don't. If I'm being honest, I mean, I don't know if I see. So again, the previous films haven't had sort of direct titles. Like this is very like specific titles. Granted, this could just be what they called the song to kind of, have everybody on the same page. Rather than calling it, instead of Saved by Fate, it could be, whatever, Destiny or whatever. And they just kind of like, hey, this is the opening scene title, so we'll title it this. So it could be that. But it's believable. Nothing in here is unrealistic. Nothing in here really gives away too much. It kind of, I can buy it. Let's put it like that. Like if I had to give a yes or no answer as to whether I think this is real or not, I would say yes. Just because it's very plain. It's not too forthcoming as far as like spoilers go. But again, take this with a grain of salt. This does sort of tell a broad picture of the film, though. If you really dissect it and break it down, I could probably break it down further if you'd like a video like that. So if you would, let me know down in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to kind of, maybe we can even do like a series where I take each song and kind of give my input on what they could mean for the film as a whole. I'd be more than happy to do something like that. It's just, I don't want to make this video like a 30-minute video, so I'd probably go that route. So let me know what you think. Do you think this is real? Do you think this is just nonsense that somebody posted online? I don't doubt it's real. Like, again, nothing really stands out that's like, oh my god. Nothing's really groundbreaking. Like I said, the titles could just be what they named them in order to kind of keep the continuity of the film. But yeah, again, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Join the discussion. If you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, again, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload. Stay up to date with all things Scream. Join these wonderful discussions, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.